All right, our first story of the day. We'll be checking in with Facebook and the latest developments in Project Libra to see where this controversial corporate coin has kind of landed on with its roadmap to getting launched in the public's hands. Facebook has been gearing up for this rollout of the Libra payment ecosystem. And in this process, they have decided now to refresh and rebrand basically a key subsidiary of their project. Of course, that's the Calibra digital wallet. And so the Calibra digital wallet's been given a new name. It's been given a new look. This announcement was just published earlier today that Libra's digital wallet, that is previously known as Calibra, the wallet previously known as Calibra, has been rebranded to Novi, which is a play on the Latin root words novus, meaning new, and via, meaning way, so new way. Novi will be the first wallet product available for users of the Libra project once it goes live, and it's intended to hold the various digital currencies and assets that are coming to the Libra platform. Novi, according to Facebook, is going to bring with it, it's more than just kind of a rebranding to Facebook anyways. It's more than just a rebranding. It's more than just kind of than hype. It is, according to the press release anyways, it's a complete revamp of the entire design. But it still maintains an element of the Libra icon in its logo. Maybe a good portion of this is just trying to disassociate from the branding of Libra and Calibra, because it's one thing for the company to be called Libra, but the wallet that people would be using being called Calibra might entail that negative connotation. So I would speculate that this is probably a good marketing movement on the Libra Association's part, because that's what's actually going to be in people's hands. Now this Novi wallet has shed a little bit of light into how it's going to work. It's going to be operating as a completely standalone application, which is going to have interoperability with Facebook's Messenger and the WhatsApp client. So you're going to be able to use the Novi wallet natively. From the way I read the press release, you can have the Novi wallet app on your phone. It will interact with WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. Now, whether or not you can utilize the Novi wallet without inside WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger without having the Novi app on your phone, I'm not exactly sure about. Maybe that answer doesn't exist, and we'll know once it actually comes out. It's one of those weird things like, well, how do I actually set this up on my phone? And then there's a YouTube video. We'll probably break it down when it comes out. Now, we got to remember that the goal of Facebook with this Libra project is the goal of XRP or Ripple or R3. Facebook's goal is not store of value. Facebook's goal is not unconfiscatability. Facebook's goal is not uncensorable payment method. Facebook's goal is making digital payments convenient, right? So this is the same goal as Visa. This is the same goal as MasterCard. Whereas we have to understand, right? And this is my strong opinion, and it behooves me to mention this here. For the average consumer, being able to send digital payments natively and conveniently, like for example, like my life is made much more convenient by PayPal. Just about everybody that I interact with utilizes PayPal. I can utilize PayPal to instantly send funds for a low fee. It's very convenient. And in fact, if I send to family and friends, it's no fee, right? So anybody who's going to say that, if you're not using Bitcoin to send all value transfers, then you're not supporting Bitcoin. That's silly, okay? Bitcoin is different. Like this, Bitcoin has evolved. And this is like the biggest thing. I don't know if you guys watched Roger Ver and Tone Vays' latest debate. And so first off, a lot of respect for Tone Vays, but I felt like he let himself get argued into a corner. And this is a debate tactic, unfortunately, right? Roger Ver is good at debate. He let himself kind of get backed in and agree to suppositions of Roger Ver's that aren't the point, right? The point that needs to be stated is that it doesn't matter if BCH can send transactions faster. It doesn't matter if it's there instantaneously. Tone points this out pretty well. Like the big blockers want bigger blocks because to make transactions cheaper because Lightning makes them too cheap. Right? They don't like the fact that the Lightning Network makes transactions cheaper than big blocks would make them. So, but the point here is not, and unfortunately it's just not, the point is not like, oh, this is the best possible method to be able to pay for a cup of coffee or send money, right? Like you want to send $20, like, yeah, Bitcoin's your thing to do. it's changed, right? And with the introduction of Taproot and Schnorr signatures, and as the Lightning Network becomes more popular, that will become more of a reality, right? That's what it used to be, but Bitcoin has evolved. Bitcoin now stands as a store of value, in a way, again, ultimately, to have unconfiscatable and uncensorable money, right? So when your goal is protection, when your primary goal is, I would like to put my money somewhere, I would like to hold my wealth in something that the government cannot take, the banks cannot seize, that cannot be stolen from me, and that I can transmit to anybody anywhere in the world without any permission, that's the role of Bitcoin, right? If you add in the large value proposition that you believe that it is also bullish in nature and therefore likely the price is going to go up, then you also get the investment aspect into it as well, the digital gold narrative. Bitcoin is most likely not the cheapest way to send 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks right now, right? It used to be. It will be in the future. You can utilize the Lightning Network to send transactions for less than a penny, which is cheaper than BCH. So it's just one of those things, right? So again, if people want to send very cheap, very convenient transactions, they can utilize the Lightning Network. That is relatively new. People complain, people who are anti-BTC will argue about that the Lightning Network is not very compatible or very wide used. Okay, well, neither was Bitcoin for like 5 years. It wasn't until like Bitcoin was like 20,000 until most of you newbies, no offense to people watching that got in at 19,000, like even became interested in Bitcoin anyways. And guess what? People didn't have any problem learning how to set up a wallet and send transactions. Lightning Network's no different, right? When the demand, and Ansel points this out really good. I had a good interview with Ansel about this. Make sure to go check out my interview with Ansel Linder of Bitcoin to Markets. Like this is how entrepreneurial activities work. When the demand is there, then the work gets done. It is going to, of course, be convenient for individuals to be able to send funds, but just keep in mind, right? Like all Facebook wants to do is make sending money convenient for users of their platform, which is a lot of people. Okay. I don't think that Facebook is proposing, who cares like what their intentions are? Like Facebook's value proposition here, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin's value proposition. I think a lot of individuals are likely going to use the Calibra system, just like a lot of people use PayPal, right? A lot of people use PayPal. A lot of people are going to use Calibra. A lot of people use Facebook. Most of you people use Facebook. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Like you can be like, oh, cool, there's this like new plugin that like allows me to send funds. And that's likely going to be convenient for you. But just remember the functionality, the point of utilizing that kind of payment system is just to be able to send money conveniently. And with no hidden fees, quote unquote, right? It is interesting to point out, though, that in their press release and in all the information that we currently have about the Facebook payment system here, we don't have really any information about like what the fees are going to be, right? Now, here's the bad stuff. If you want to use this Novi wallet, if you want to use this Facebook payment system, which again, a lot of people are going to do, right? They're going to have to verify their identification using government issued ID. That is going to give Facebook and the regulatory system a sigh of relief that they are going to have a good command and control handle on this, right? Keep in mind that ensures you as the user are you are insured that you are now in the system of regulatory compliance, which again, if you're utilizing PayPal, if you have a bank account, if you have a job, if you have a social security number, you already are. Andreas Antonopoulos has a really good dialectic about this, right? Where you have the staircase of sovereignty, right? So as somebody who's been involved with Bitcoin for quite a while now, I run my own node. I utilize a hardware wallet. I've moved a lot of my funds into Bitcoin. I pay very close attention to my personal privacy and security, encryption, all of these things. I'm very wary about, licenses that I accept and software that I use and companies that I work with and all of these things. I want to let people know, like, I didn't start off like this, right? You just start somewhere. If you have some Bitcoin or if you have, some cryptocurrency, then you are already like a pretty high step above your average user. And if you're just using Electrum, or if you're just keeping your funds on your exchange, or if you're just keeping your funds on Coinbase, that's certainly better. But just remember, like, the next step is not your keys, not your coins. And then maybe you get a hardware wallet, and then maybe you start running your own full node, and then maybe you start like turning Facebook off, and maybe you stop like listening to Twitter, and maybe you start working out, and maybe you start improving your life, and maybe you found your own company, and then maybe you appear on TV or create your own YouTube channel, and people come listen to you because you're not brainwashed anymore. It's a staircase to sovereignty, right? And, you start reading Mises somewhere along the way and Murray Rothbard, and you get it all figured out, right? Now, the Libra wallet's going to have an initial rollout in several countries. This is going to occur before they actually open up their global system. So it'll be interesting to see what countries they decide to launch to. I'm sorry, Alex is just like, you heard it here, folks. Hit the gym, lawyer up, buy a hardware wallet. And as for release dates, they haven't presented a clear timeline in this most recent announcement, but they're kind of hinting at introducing an early version of Novi when the Libra network actually goes live for the first time, right? Now, the wallet and the financial service, the Libra project, is now going to be operated by a new entity, right? So it's not Calibra anymore, right? It's the new entity called Novi Financial, which is still a subsidiary of Facebook, meaning their operations are kind of going to be independent from the social media giant. Like maybe, right? Maybe they're still a subsidiary. So, you know, the Libra project's pretty ambitious. That's what's kickstarted the world and governments around the world really getting on the CBDC train, which obviously we've been covering more because I think that Libra, like, everybody's scared of corporate coins, and they typically tend to be people on the left or the far left who are very anti-corporate anyways. I'm not really worried about corporate coins because I'm not afraid of this dystopian, like, corporate run future like Soylent Green, like Soylent Green is people. What I'm terrified of is a dystopian, 1984 type future, which seems far more likely because we have historical evidence of tyrannical governments, right? We don't have a lot of historical evidence of tyrannical corporations because, right, tyrannical corporations do not have a monopoly on the use of force. Like, people who aren't, like, kind of, into the either a libertarian movement or the anarcho-capitalist movement or the anarchist movement or into the kind of the crypto movement, like those words, like, just go in one ear and out the other. But, like, the point is, like, cannot be overstated here, right? Governments have a monopoly on the use of force. Like, they can kill you legally, right? Corporations can't. They have to hire somebody to do it, and they have to do it illegally. So you can boycott corporations. You can refuse to do business with corporations. So I am not scared of a dystopian corporate future. So I'm not really concerned too much about the Facebook Libra project. I think it'll be something interesting to watch. But again, I don't see why we're so, like, scared or concerned about the Libra project when just about everybody already utilizes PayPal. I don't see what the big disassociation there is. What I am concerned about is the DCEP, right? The digital renminbi, right? Because that is a digital currency that puts all of your personal information right in front of the central bank and an authority, a centralized totalitarian communist authority with a monopoly on the use of force in their jurisdiction, who have been very public in the fact that they wish to spread their brand of communism. I mean, which have been involved in spreading their brand of communism and totalitarianism as far as they possibly can for, like, the last 50 years. I mean, America has fought multiple wars, about the spread of communism across the world. So this concerns me. The spread of the DCEP concerns me. People utilizing Libra and Facebook Messenger doesn't really scare me. And I think that the crypto commentators and the individuals in the field who are saying the opposite of what I'm saying, and they are turning a blind eye to the DCEP, and they're like, oh, we're gonna have a digital dollar. That's totally cool. And they're like, oh, but Facebook's Libra, evil. Like, very, very, very misguided, or their incentive structure is completely skewed. To see, in my opinion, like the glaring threat of CBDCs as opposed to something like a corporate coin, you only really need to look at the outcry about the corporate coin that you have seen from primarily whom? Governments and central banks around the world, right? Like, once Facebook said, hey, we're going to launch this, like, corporate coin, this is, like this convenient digital currency that you can utilize in Facebook Messenger. And guess what? Like, a few people in the crypto land, like people like me, we were like, we were kind of like, what? Oh, like PayPal? Oh, okay, cool. The Bank of International Settlements, the European Central Bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, policymakers, Congress in the United States, the reserve banks across the world, like, they shot up and they were like, what? How dare Facebook? This is a threat to our sovereignty. So you really only need to look at the reaction from those who have done the most damage to human quality of life. And to see, like, what you should be worried about and not worried about, right? So again, like, Facebook is not a good company for digital privacy. I'm not here shilling Facebook, but they are very upfront about what they do. Like, they collect information, they engage in manipulating public opinion. They're typically very biased, politically in one direction on one side of the aisle. So all of that is, but this is a fairly known, and utilizing their platform, like we can certainly criticize Facebook for not being upfront about this. And while I do not think that Facebook is necessarily good, like I don't utilize Facebook very often. I have a Facebook account, but I don't utilize it. I think that nowadays, at least in 2020, like people are aware of this and people have already begun this kind of natural transition away. I think that the idea that individuals are not aware of Facebook's bias in 2020 is more and more of a rare thing, and something that will continue to be known moving forward. And either Facebook can change their policies and change their kind of social manipulation type tactics, or they can't. And I think that they'll continue to lose market share to something that's more decentralized that comes out, and this is what the free market does. This is why I'm not afraid of a corporate dystopian future as long as we have open markets. It is nationalization of public industries that scares me, because that is antithetical to open markets. Because then the government can tell you what platforms you can utilize, but they can tell other platforms that they can or cannot operate. So that way, the government controlling what is available for you to utilize. Thank you guys so much. Highly appreciated for the likes on today's video. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon.